So the first thing you want to do is lay these down so that they're not touching anything metal. We're going to put the positive on here first, but we're going to leave this ground off, and then we'll go and hook up the other car. You notice that none of these cars are running. We're going to pretend this one is the dead battery. It's actually not dead, but I want to show you how to hook it up so you can prevent the chance of having this battery explode, because it does have sulfuric acid and it can put off flammable gas from it, so you don't want any kind of spark around it. I'm going to show you how to prevent that. You've got to make sure these are laid out so they're not touching anything that could potentially be metal before you hook up that other battery. Even though that other battery is dead, it'll have some sort of charge. So this is on the car that has the good battery. Notice how this is still moving around. So that's why sometimes I'll clip this on something that I know is plastic so that I don't have to worry about it touching anything metal. But again, you have to know what's plastic and what's metal. This brightly colored connection is going to clip on the positive terminal. We're going to leave this one disconnected for now. Let's go back to the other car on here. You see that how useful that is because of how this one's set up. We've got to turn that face down because we can't get this type of connector in. All right, so those feel good. They're not touching anything metal. So instead of connecting to the battery, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to connect to this bolt. That way, if it does create a spark, I don't have to worry about it being right there next to the battery. And you could clip on this, but it's going to create a little bit of a spark when you do it. So I'm going to go crank the other car. Let me see. All right, so we got this car on. This is the one that had the healthy battery. And right now we're going to let this send some power from this battery to the next before we go to your car, which had the dead battery, and crank it. It didn't really. All right, so now we're in your car. We're going to go ahead and crank it up. So it cranks right up. We're going to leave it running because it obviously has a bad battery, so we don't want to kill it. We're going to go take these power cables off, and we're going to do this in reverse. All right, so now that we've got ours cranked, we're going to go ahead and take the negative off first. Place it over here. There is no ground. And then we're going to go take these other two off the other car. We're going to leave this positive on for right now. On this one, we're going to take this negative off first, and then we'll take the positive. So right now, I'm holding the positive from the other car in my hand. It's not connected to anything. And now I'm going to take this one off, and now we have nothing connected. So now we'll make sure both covers are in the right place. We'll leave this car running if it's the one that had the dead battery. We'll shut the hood, and drive off and try to get it home. You don't want to kill it until you get it to the location where you can work on it. We want to put the positive cap back on the one that jumped us. For me, I always like to be the one that hooks up the cables because I know how it should be done. I never really want to trust anybody else. Some people won't let you do that because they want to do it themselves. So put these back in the box that they came in just to keep everything organized in your trunk. All right, so same thing applies to your battery jumper that I bought you. So those are the cables for it. And here's the jumper, except you don't need a car. So as long as that's got a full charge, you hook it up the same way. Now those cables won't reach to a ground off the battery. So this USB charges your battery, your lithium battery jumper. So we'll put that to the side, but what you'll notice here is this negative is often not long enough to get to a ground that's off the battery. So you may have to go directly to the negative terminal. So pop your hood here, slide your hand under until you connect to the lever. Prop your hood open. Or your positive side and negative only fit one way. And it'll tell you once they're connected. Make sure these don't touch. Alright, so we've got our positive hooked up here. Got our negative hooked up there, and it's telling us it has a charge and that it's hooked up. We turn that on, and then you would just go crank your car. All right, so now I'm gonna go crank the car. And then once it cranks, reverse process here. We're going to turn this off, take the negative off, then take the positive, and we'll pull this out, disconnect it, and now we don't have to worry about the positive and negative touching each other, the cables. Seal that back up, and that'll go back in your trunk. Make sure this positive cover is closed. Cut your hood. But if you just jump that off, do not kill the car, because you got to get it home. Now, if for some reason you can't find somebody to jump you off, and this battery jumper is dead, it comes with a charger. So if you're at a gas station, Walmart parking lot, someplace that may have power, and you've got a port that'll plug into a wall or a computer, you can charge it. So I'm going to put that right in here so that it is with your battery pack. So I'm going to put it in here with the battery pack. The reason you don't want to kill the car after you've either been jumped off or that you used your battery pack to jump off the battery is because the only thing keeping it running right now is the alternator. Now, if you just left your lights on, that battery will possibly hold a charge, but you don't know. You don't know if the battery is completely dead and won't hold a charge. And what's happening is the alternator is running power through the battery to keep spark to the spark plugs. So make sure you don't kill it until you get it to where you can work on it. And then you can find out, is it the battery that's truly dead, or did something just drain the battery?